Welcome to the new video in the series in which we are making Notes app, and in this video we will write integration test for our AddNoteViewModel. So in our app we have AddNote feature. In this we have AddNoteViewModel. So we will write integration test for that. So we will go to the name of this class and press Alt Enter and create test and go with the default settings, and in here we will, as we are writing integration test, which will fall in the unit test category because we don't require any Android component at this place. Okay, and in here we will understand that what are the required dependencies which we need to create the instance of this AddNoteViewModel. So these are the required things, and we will create the instance of these dependencies one by one. So in here we will create a method named as setup, and in this we will create a data member for saved state handle. So private latent saved state handled, and create an instance of that. Next we need the instance of getNote use case. So we will create a data member here for that. It's a get node use case to get a single node, and in here we will create an instance. In this get node use case require two dependencies, repository and IO dispatcher. So repository is another class, so we will also need the instance of that. So we will create the data member for that. Nodes repository, and create the instance of this repository, which would be an implementation class, and this repository requires DAO, nodes DAO, and we will create the instance of DAO as well. And we have made a testing double for that, another fake nodes DAO to write our test in the unit test category. So this fake nodes DAO require items array list. So we will create a array list here. And pass this in here, and now we have the instance of DAO, so we will pass this to repository and pass the repository instance to this getNote use case, and this use case also requires IO dispatcher. So for here we use unconfined test dispatcher, which is used for test cases. And now the next instance which is required is the AddNote use case and deleteNote use case. So we will create two data members for that. AddNote use case and delete node use case and create their instances respectively. Okay, so for now we have all the required dependencies for our AddNoteViewModel. So now we will annotate this method with before, so it should be called before running any test. Next we will write the method to test our AddNoteViewModel functionality. So in our AddNoteViewModel in init block, we are getting node ID from save state handle and getting the node details if that node ID is not -1. So before writing test for this one, we need to do some other changes that all of our this unconfined dispatcher should use same scheduler. So for that we will write test dispatcher here, standard test dispatcher, and use this in here. And also we need to define some rules here. Main dispatcher rule. These are the rules which are covered in previous video in detail. So the link of that video is available in the description below, so you can know that why are using this same scheduler, because it is recommended by the coroutines that all of our coroutines which are running in test cases should run using same scheduler, and this main dispatcher rule as well. And another rule which we need to define here is the instant task executor rule. Okay, so now we have done the initial things, and we will also pass this IR dispatcher as a constructor to our view model. And this would be an IO dispatcher, so we will use this former specifier here. Actually it's an qualifier. Okay, and now we will test our this function, and let's wrap it into another function named as get node, and we will verify this function. So this function is already been called in the init block, so we don't need to call this in our test case, because it will be automatically called during the object creation. So in here we will write a test that get node, and in return we are expecting that the valid title and description would be updated. So we are in return we are expecting valid title and description. So run test, and this will also include that we will provide valid node ID. So pass the same scheduler for this one, and in here in our given part we will set up view model. So add node view model, and in this we have saved state handle. In saved state handle we will set the node ID. Let's say we have node model dummy node dot node 2 and 2 model. So we will pass this node 2 ID in our saved state handle. And let's replace it with this one, and set the save state handle in the constructor, and then get node use case. Add node use case and delete node use case, and IO dispatcher, unconfined test dispatcher, and use the test scheduler, which this we are getting this test scheduler from the run test, and run test is getting the scheduler from this test dispatcher. So now in the when part, get node method is already called in init block, so we just need to get the results. So our result would be these values, title and description. So we will get these values. So result one is title, view model dot title dot value, and result 2 is the description. So now in then part we will expecting valid title and description. So truth dot assert result 1, title should be equal to the node model dot title, and description result 2 is the description. Actually this would be result 2. Result 2 will be description, which should be equal to this not model description. So yeah, this is it which we need to write. So let's run and test, verify the result. Okay, so our tests have been failed. Let's see what is failing the test. Is the log file which is causing the issue. So because this is an Android class which is coming from android.util, and in our unit test we don't have access to these Android components or Android classes, so we need to write or use the alternate for that. In the previous video we have replaced it with the println, but it's not a very feasible approach if we are writing integration test for any enterprise level application. Then it might be possible that we have used this log.t on many places. So it would include a lot of time to refactor this one. So what we can do for our workaround for that is that in our test source set we can create a new file named as log.kt, and which would be in Android util package. So we will create a new package here named as Android util, and in this we will create a Kotlin file log and paste this code of block. You may find this code of block on the video description, and select Ctrl A, remove the all current content and paste this one. Now if we run our test, then it would be done successfully, and in our this log.t we are using println, so it will replace the implementation of the log.t. So let's run and verify. Okay, so our tests have been successfully passed, and now we will as we are providing the valid node ID, then we are our title and description have been updated. In case of providing no vital ID, in that case the ID would be -1. So in that scenario our title and description would be empty. So we will test that provide no node ID. No node ID. In that case we are expecting empty title and description, and this would be -1, and we are expecting our result title and description would be empty. So now let's run and verify. Okay, another case also is that what if we provide the invalid node ID? Then in that case this get node use case will return null, and nothing will be updated in this title and description, and this would be empty as well. And now let's copy this code of block, paste it in here. By pressing Ctrl D it will duplicate it and provide invalid node ID. We are again expecting empty title and description, so we will use the ID here, let's say 20, and in this case our title and description will remain empty. So let's run and verify. Okay, so our this test also have been successfully passed. Now our next thing that we need to test in our view model is the public method, which is an action method which take different actions, and corresponding to each action there would be a specific method which is called. So at this point there is no need to test this function. We just only need to test these different methods which are called, and after that there is some state change or any navigation happen. So in here we are seeing that title on value change and what it will do is that it will update the title in the title variable or title mutable state flow. So we will test this function. So as okay, let's copy this one and create a method here. Return updated title and run test. So at this point we're only calling this method, there is no variation of input. It can be empty, it can be any string. So we are just writing one test case for that whatever string is provided to this method should be reflected in the title variable. So now we will in the setup part we will need this code of block to set up the view model. And let's say if it's -1, that means we are inserting a new node, and in the when part we will update the title. So let's say title is this is another node, and we need to pass this in our own value change. But as you can see here, this title on value change is private, so it's not accessible from us outside the scope of this class. So to access that, we will use another strategy, which is the Java reflection method. So we will create access it by Java class declared get declared method title on value change, and the input parameters which required is the string. So we will specify it like this, and now we have our that method, and we need to make it accessible by setting is accessible to true, and we also need to invoke it on the view model and passing the params in it. So we need to define the params, which would be array of null and can be any, and size is 1 because we only have one parameter. So params dot 0 would be the title which we want to update, and we will pass it in here. And as this invoke method take as var args, where it is or multiple arguments, so we will use the static in start of this variable. So yeah, in this way we can execute this private method. So now let's verify the results. So we will get the result using view model dot title dot value, and now we are expecting valid title. So truth dot assert that result should be equals to title. Okay, so now let's run and verify the result. Okay, so our tests have been successfully passed. Now Our next method which we need to test is the description on value change. So there is no much difference in these two methods, so we will just copy this code of block by pressing Ctrl D. Copy will be created, and here we will use this description on value change. Getting in return, we are expecting updated description, and rest of this part will be same. Just need to refactor this description. This is our node description, and our method which we need to call is the description on value change, and in result we will get the description value. So yeah, this is it. So let's run and verify this test. Okay, so our tests have been successfully passed. So now our next method which we need to test is the back icon on click, and this method launched another coroutine on IO dispatcher, and what it will do is it will create a node model by using current values, node title, description, ID, title, description, and call the AddNote use case method to insert that item, and then emit the navigate back event to navigate the user to the previous screen. So do write this write test for this function and verify things on different points. So first of all, we will use the IO dispatcher here and pass in here the main dispatcher, which we will be passing through the constructor. So main dispatcher, and then in our test class we will create another method named as back on click, and in return we are expecting this would be insertion method. So we will be expecting after the completion of this one, we want to validate that node have been successfully inserted. So we will expect that insert node event, and from here we are expecting navigate back event. We will use run test, pass in the test dispatcher.scheduler. I think here test dispatcher.scheduler is not used. Let's paste it in here because it won't cause any issue at this point, but when we run all the whole file whole test all test cases in this file collectively, it may cause issue at that point. So here we will need to set up the view model, so we will copy this code of block, but here we also need to mention the main dispatcher, unconfined dispatcher, and test scheduler. So we just need to first copy this portion and also replace it in these places. Okay, and now we will copy this code of work to set up the view model and paste it in here. And as we want to, let's say we want to create a new node, so for that we will have this new node model dummy nodes. Dummy entity.node 4 is not already inserted because it's have null and title and description with it, so we will map it to model and use this new model. Actually this would be -1 because we are inserting a new node, and in our function name we also mentioned that insert new node. Now we have done the setup view model, so we need to, in our when part, we need to call back icon on click method. So before that we need to actually at this point we need to update our title and description. So for that what we will do is view model dot java class get declare method, and actually we have called this method in here, so let's copy this from here and paste it in here, and we will call the, let's say this is for description, so new node model dot description, and we also need to update the title. So for that we will set the params title, and in here title on value change. Where is the title on value change? Paste it in here. Now we are updating the title and description, and now at this point title and description would be exist, and we want to insert the node. So at this point we can call this back on click method, and again this method is a private method, so we need to use this Java reflection approach. So copy and paste this code and call this method, as this method won't require any input parameters, so we will remove this one and this one as well. So now we have called this method, so we have to verify that is that AddNote use case is successfully able to insert the node. For that we need to listen not events. So for in this view model we don't use any listen nodes. We are not listening any not events, but for the purpose of the verification of this test we need to listen the nodes. So for that we need the instance of listen nodes, so we will create a data member here, listen node use case, nodes use case, and in our setup method we will create the instance of that. Which requires repository and IO dispatcher. and in here we need to listen the events. So in here, in after the setup, we need to listen not events. So for that we will create a not events list, which would be a mutable list, not event. And in here we need to collect those events which are emitting through which are coming through flow. So we will use background scope here. So I often go into further detail or explanation of this background scope, which because we have already covered this in our previous lecture. So you can see that lecture. The link of that video is given in the description below. So launch unconfined test dispatcher and test scheduler, and in here we will listen by collect this flow, and we will get the new event, not events dot add, and we will add that in our this section, and we will get the result here, result not event, and in not events list we will get the last item or null, and if that item is not null, then we will cast it as insert to cast it to insert event, because if we are expecting any event, then that should be this one. And the next event that we need to verify is the navigate back event, which is which is this child class of AddNote event. So we will listen these events which are persist in our in our AddNoteViewModel. So for that we will create another, we will listen that node. So listen AddNote events, AddNote events. So where we will create another variable here, AddNote events, which is a mutable list of AddNote event, and we will use background scope dot launch, and collect those events. And add those events in our this mutable list, and in our let's say this is our result 1, which we are expecting is the not event. Let's name it as insert not event, and the second result would be navigate back event. So add not events dot last or null, and upon receiving that we will cast it as navigate back event. And yeah, that's it. So we have received our result. Now we need to verify them in our then part we are expected insert not event and navigate back event. So truth dot assert result 1. If it's not null, then that means we have received that correct event and our node have been successfully inserted. Now also verify the content in this insert event which we are receiving. So truth dot assert that result 1 dot value should be equals to new node model. But at this point everything is good, but one thing which we need to understand that this new node model won't have the ID in it in our node 4. The ID is null node entity, and during mapper this would be -1. So to pass this check as this value which we are getting with the insert node event, which will contain the inserted node ID as well. So we need to update that inserted node ID in our new node model as well. So for that we will get the node ID from that result 1 dot value dot ID, where it's nullable, so we will by default use -1 if it's null, and also update this new node model. This is var, let's change it to var, and yeah, now that is good. Now next we need to verify our result 2. So assert that if result 2 is not null, that means we have get the expected result which we want. So now let's run and verify this test. Okay, so our tests haven't been passed as expected, so let's say what error we have here. Okay, so we are getting this navigate back event null. So okay, add not event, we are inserting that, and in here we have main dispatcher emitting navigate back event. We have this list background scope. Actually we need to launch it into unconfined test dispatcher with same scheduler. This is the thing which we are missing, so let's run and verify it again. Okay, so now our tests have been successfully passed, and this is the case which we have verified when insert new node. So let's do it in a way if we want to update an existing node. So let's copy this code of log, paste it in here, and at this time we will name it as update existing node. And now we will receive the update not event and navigate back event, and we will take the node2 model and make a copy of that and update its title to use the text. Let's say node title have been updated, and description would be this is new description. And we also pass this, set this node id in our save state handle. Actually we will name it as, by pressing shift F6, updated node model. And pass this model id to this save state handle. And we are listing the events, calling this method and providing them the updated title, description, and calling the back on click method. And we are receiving the events. In the events we want the update event, and this shouldn't be null and result 2 shouldn't be null. So these are our expected response, and this would be update not event. And yeah, that's it. So let's run and verify this. Okay, so our tests have been successfully passed. So now let's move to next method which we need to test is this three method: hide confirmation dialog, show confirmation dialog, and delete node. So hide confirmation dialog, this is the most easy one at this place. So create a method here, hide confirmation dialog, and in return we are expecting false. So here first we will set up the view model. We won't need the ID here, just we want to verify this confirmation dialog visibility. So we will use pass the -1 here, and in here in the when part we will call hide confirmation dialog method. So to call the private method, as this is a private method, we already have write down that Java reflection access mechanism for that. So copy it from here, paste it in here, and this is our private method name. We will paste it in here, and this method will be called, and we now need to get the result. So view model dot show confirmation dialog, and in result we are expecting false. False means that dialog is hidden. So truth dot assert that it is expected to be false. Let's verify, is it true? It should be equal to false. So now let's run and verify this. Let's run and verify this. Okay, so our tests have been failed. So now let's see. Actually we need to get the value and we are getting the 4. So dot value and run it again. Okay, so our ref test have been successfully passed, and the next method which we need to test is the show confirmation dialog. So we will use the same method. Paste this code of block and copy and paste it in here, and the name of this one is the show confirmation dialog. Paste in here, and in return we are expecting true, and paste it in here, and here we are expecting true. So let's run and verify. So our test, this test also have been successfully passed, and the next method that which we need to test is the delete node. And what it will do is it will delete the node, and obviously it will emit the delete node event and hide the confirmation dialog. We also need to verify that, and also navigate back to the previous, emit the navigate back event which will navigate user to the previous screen. So first of all we will replace this dispatcher with IO dispatcher, which we are passing through constructor, and this main dispatcher as well. Now we need to write the test case for this method. So we will copy this above code block and paste it in here, and the name of the method is delete node. So we will use delete node here, and in return we are expecting what we are expecting: delete node event, delete node event, and false, and navigate back event. So these are the events which we are expecting, and in here we will set the selected node and dummy node dot node 2. Let's select node 3 this time, and pass this selected node ID. Okay, and we need to listen the node events. Let's first call this method. So delete node method, we will call this method in here, call delete node method. And now as we have called this method, we need to listen this delete event when the node is deleted. To listen the events, we have already write the code for that. So let's reuse that code of block, not events and add not events. So copy this code of block, paste it in here, and now we will verify this. Let's say our result one is the delete not event, and not events dot last or null, and we will cast it as delete not, and the second event is the hide confirmation dialog. So our result 2 is the show confirmation dialog. Dot value, and our result 3 is navigate back event. Okay, and now we are expecting that this won't be null. So result1 dot delete not null, and we are also expecting that we will receive the correct not ID when in this delete not event. So what we will do, we will verify that by getting the not ID. Should be equals to selected node dot id, and the second is this this result2 truth dot assert that result2, and it should be false, and the third result is the result 3, and it should not be null. So these are the things that we need to verify. So let's recheck our code again. We are calling the delete method, getting the results and verifying these results, and yeah, that's it. So let's run and verify. Okay, so our tests have been successfully passed. So now we have covered most of the cases which we are expected in here. So let's run this file and verify all the test results collectively. Okay, so we have 10 tests and all of them have been successfully passed. So now let's run this complete source set and verify test source set and verify all the test results. And we have 41 tests and all of them have been successfully passed. So this is it for today's video. I hope this information would be meaningful for you. So thank you for watching. Bye.